IndyCar is practically the staple of open wheel racing in the US of A, unless, Formula One makes its presence. Of course, they will be doing that in Texas this year. But IndyCar is still that staple in open wheel racing in the US of A. And I would like to talk about it because IndyCar is not necessarily fitting with the type of excitement you expect to have. See, the big problem is camera work needs to be improved drastically. The reason I say this is because, I've seen remnants of it in the road courses, but now I've seen it in the actual oval as well. They spend too much time focusing on that leader, especially for no reason at all. For racing to be exciting, especially the people watching at home, you need to have different points of action. Without different points of action, you are making a lapse race. You are making it boring for the fans who are trying to watch at home. Now, for the fans who are at the stands and all that kind of stuff, they can focus on different points of action whenever they please. But for the fans at home, you need to find that different points of action. You need to find them. You need to implement them. You need to showcase them and showcase overtakes, battles, those kind of things. You should not be focused on a leader in front who has a 5-6 second lead for 10 laps. You should not be showing that. You should be focused on different points of action. You can still cut back to the leader, of course, but you should not just be showing that. If you want to make this interesting and entertaining for the fans who are just now coming in, who are just trying to get into IndyCar, then you need to be able to do those camera swaps on the fly. Maybe get that stuff implemented, because it shouldn't be like this. Hands down, it should not. It should not. Now, aggressive racing is something that everyone loves to see. Is there aggressive racing in IndyCar? Yes, there is. Overtakes are great, especially on the road courses where it's impactful that people have a strategy, that people set up overtakes from 3 corners back. It is impressive to see. The beginning of the race always has great action. Now, don't get me wrong, crashes are not something that you should see as great action, but to the newcomer, crashes are. And there's always constant pushing in IndyCar, especially on the road courses. The reason I say that is because there's so many different avenues for you to overtake, to plan, strategy, all that kind of thing. There's just a constant push. Everyone's trying to get that better position. I've seen, guys overtake 12 different people, throughout the entirety of the race, doing what they need to do in order to get a good position. Everyone's constantly pushing. It's remarkable. And of course, the push-to-pass system is also something that should not be slept on. Something that has been able to change the course of a race in a matter of a lap. The push-to-pass system is something that is that is not, I don't want to say unique, but it kind of is. Something that you don't quite see be so effective, but in IndyCar, my goodness, it is one of the most effective tools in the belt of the driver. Sorry for that slip up there. And of course, there's one thing that we need to add into this equation, which is the TV presence. I believe IndyCar is on NBCSN, the sports network, which is definitely a big network. And when it is time for IndyCar, it is the prominent thing that is shown. But there aren't really much discussions about IndyCar for you to keep thinking about the thing. There's not really much discussions for you to for fans to really debate, to talk about that kind of thing. There needs to be more and more, either behind the scenes or more, a conversation being discussed by media and those kind of things for the actual race and for the actual events. Why is discussions about IndyCar not so prominent? Don't know. Now, one last thing we have to bring in: how does IndyCar really compare to the other open wheel races? Of course, Formula One, it can't compare. But in the US of A, there's nothing else like it. There's nothing else like IndyCar unless Formula One brings itself here, and that's only for a weekend. IndyCar is a good bit of weekends. So there's really nothing on the American side of the Atlantic that could compare. Of course, there's F1, F2, Formula E even, but Formula E doesn't really have its identity yet. Formula One, I say IndyCar is number 2 on the scale, number 2 on that scale, but they are falling ever so slightly because of that shoddy ass camera work.